Welcome to Kick It Up a Notch, hosted by Megan and Jenny. We're here to bring you lively conversations, inspiring stories, and a little bit of everything in between. Whether it's life, business, or just a good laugh, we're turning up the energy and diving into what makes life extraordinary. Let's kick it up a notch. Welcome to another episode of Kick It Up a Notch. I'm Megan Thomas, and I'm unfortunately not here with my other amazing co-host, Jenny McBride. She has got a tough schedule right now, so we are taking over, but she will be back. We are the best realtors here in Evansville, also entrepreneurs and all-around pretty fun gals. We're so glad to have you back for another episode, and make sure to check out all of our past episodes wherever you get your podcast, and please listen, follow, and subscribe. Today, I am here with Mark Albini, one of my favorite people because he is a dog person, and dog people are my favorite people. So Mark has done really well at advocating for Vandenberg, Evansville's animal control and starting to see some changes there, which I think a big movement was announced, which was, I think, a move in the right direction. And Mark is also a strong advocate and supporter of the PAWS animal shelter that we have here in Evansville. So thank you so much for being here today, Mark. And let's start off with the best question, easiest question. What fur babies do you have at home? Tell us all about them.
So I actually have 6 at home. So one of them is a service dog. Her name is Cookie. She's about 11, 12 years old now. She was just diagnosed with a form of cancer on the skin. So we're going in later this month to get that removed. I do also have, 5 others on top of that. One of them is a foster right now. Her name is Winnie. She's a black little pit bull that we pulled out of a hoarder situation. And then, of course, I have my boxer pit bull mix, Daisy, my border collie Kiwi. I don't really know what breed this dog is, but her name is Pumpkin Pie. She's some sort of shepherd.
Pumpkin Pie, the one I know you've rescued them all, but she was so skinny, right? Was it? Yeah, Pumpkin Pie. Who was that? And she looks great now. She's on the right track, it seems.
She really is. She's fat and happy, and my overall goal is to have the vet tell me that she's overweight. I know that's not a great goal, but she's deserved it. She's about 8, 9 years old and has kind of suffered her whole life being emaciated. And then I do have a little, she's now about 5 pounds, same age as Cookie, about 11 years old. She's little Chihuahua, Applehead Chihuahua.
Pounds?
Her name is Pebbles.
Oh my God, I'd be so scared I'd sneeze and lose her in the house somewhere. She'd just go blow away. How does that little one do so good with the older ones, or the bigger ones, I should say?
She's very vocal on the bigger one. She does not want to be stepped on, so she sounds like a little angry squirrel. And she spends most of her days in my bedroom, in my bed, on a small little cat bed. She has a ramp to get up and down. She's got food and water and pee pad, and she can get out if she wants, but she chooses not to. She just wants to lay in bed all day.
That is amazing. 5 pounds. Holy cow. So that is quite the mixture. How do they all get along?
They all get along great. Pumpkin Pie was the hardest dog because she used to have to fight for food. So introduction to all my other dogs initially was extremely tough. It took about 2 to 3 months before I can let them be around each other, even outside, with no additional triggers, no food, no toys, no relaxing spots, just around each other. But I think she's come to realize that these are friendly dogs. It's a friendly space. And she has no problem now. When I got my little Kiwi, my little border collie as a puppy, she did not like her at all. And I think that has translated over to a love-hate relationship now, to where she still gets chased in a mean manner. But when she's caught, my Pumpkin Pie dog does not try to attack.
Yeah.
She's like, come on, keep running. Go ahead.
Isn't that such a beautiful relationship to see grow, to see a pet go from just so timid and scared and triggered to helping them realize it's a safe, friendly environment?
Yes, it is. And outside of this house, she is the meanest dog in the world. She will try to attack any other animal. On site, no triggers, no visual, male, female, spayed, neutered, does not matter. She just goes after it. So it's like, well,
yeah, at least you know that. And sounds like she's not going to be one that you're going to attempt to foster out. She's staying in your guys' pack, it sounds like. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I adopted her. Once I realized, I was like, I can't have her get back into the same situation or have somebody be upset that, it took a long time to introduce with their dogs. It's like, well, she can just stay with me. It'll be fine.
That's amazing. That gives me goosebumps. I love that so much. How does that patience wear on you? You're very busy. You have other jobs. Animal care and fostering is not your main profession. How does that patience wear on you and that ability to have 6 dogs in your home? What's that look like?
So it's actually, I mean, I have been blessed with my oldest dog. Her name is Cookie. She makes me look like a better dog owner than I really am. So the pack mentality is strong here to
Mhm.
where Cookie is the pack leader and she is the strongest. She's the heaviest. She's the biggest dog that I have. So when the other dogs get out of line, she does correct them. And I don't mean fight. I mean just little nips, body checks, getting in the way, moving them out of the way, redirecting their energy to where I don't
Yeah.
have dog fights like you would think with that many dogs, especially they're all female dogs. So there's no mix.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say that's hard, but I am very blessed. I do not need to crate them. I do not need to individually feed them. We do free feeding at my house to where they all eat when they
Mhm.
want to and they graze all day long. And they also have 24/7 access to the outside of my house.
Oh,
So there's a
wow.
doggy door that goes in and out. It's all fenced. So they get to go enjoy outside if they want, inside if they want, with plenty of food and water and any toy that they decide to destroy.
Have they ever brought in anything that you've come home and found?
Squirrels typically. So they don't frequent my yard anymore. The squirrels will get up in the trees and they
Taunt,
kind of
yeah.
have like a
Oh,
bark
yeah.
when they're taunting. So yeah, they taunt my dogs. They throw acorns at them. They throw
Yep.
cobs of corn at them
Yep.
that are completely chewed up. And so that also distracts my girls to where they're sitting
Yeah.
outside looking
Oh,
up at a tree all
I
day.
love that they get that. I'd be such a nervous Nelly with that. And then also, yeah, I'd come home to dead moles just in my house all the time. I want to go back to that. So, do you think Cookie, who keeps the other ones in check, is her breed or her training as a service dog? Okay.
No, I think I just lucked out. There's really no rhyme or rhythm to it. It just happened over time to where when she gets frustrated, when she sees something that's out of line, she starts nipping. And I do let dogs correct each other. I
Hmm.
don't let a dog fight happen. But if they're gonna show teeth, they're gonna growl, they're gonna bark, they're gonna nip at each other. That's kind of their communication. So I'll watch it from a little bit of a distance, see what's happening, and if there's actual bloodshed or a true fight, I would break it up, but that's not what happened. She just kind of assumed the role of being the
That
mama
is
dog
one thing
and the
that
pack leader.
I was so young and like naive when I got my second one that I would 100% go back and do different, allowing the natural form of, I think the role of the pack would have stayed the same, but I think I took away my first male dog's confidence, constantly correcting what was
Right.
just natural he wanted to do with her. Our second one was a little girl. So seeing that, and I'm like, I know that I put that behavior in him. And then when we got a third one, letting that natural, hey, I'm in charge happen is such an important part when you're introducing multiple pack members.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it does look scary. It's hard. It really is to kind of
Mm-hmm.
know and trust your animal to say, okay, you're showing teeth, you're starting to nip. Dog fights are scary. I don't want to break them up myself. Where do you jump in? Especially if I know you're
Yeah.
not a new pet owner, but if somebody is, they say,
Yeah.
"Well, it sounded mean." It's
Yeah.
like, "Well, it's
Oh,
supposed to
yeah, and
sound mean."
specifically, I can only, talk to husky fights, and that's when they're play fighting, and people get
Right.
scared. I'm like, "Well, that noise is fine," but I know real quick when it switches from play fighting to a angry sound. So, yeah, like you said,
Yep.
new owners, these people who are trying so hard with the best of their heart to save an animal from foster. Again, going back to that
Mhm.
patience, that awareness of introducing to another member, they're not going to always get along right away. And that's, you see so many animals returned because that process
Right.
just isn't given the patience and knowledge it's supposed to have.
Right. And most people are, I mean, I don't want to say most people. There is kind
Yeah.
of a
Oh,
trend where
for
people give
sure.
up too quickly lately. 24 hours, and we get calls back from people who've adopted out animals and say, this isn't working. They looked at my child wrong, or they made a mean sound to my other dog, or we let them sleep in our bed and they got upset.
Yeah.
And it's the first night, or it's even the first week or the first month, and it takes
Yeah.
time. They
Yeah.
need to
That's
decompress.
That's a big piece of education. Every time we go and volunteer at the Warwick Humane Society and we hear our dogs come back, and that's our first question. We're like, well, how long did they have them? They're like, over the weekend, 2 days, a week, even a month, which I know that sounds
Mhm.
like a long time, but for that dog, what they've gone through, what they've gone through is so tough. So, if you don't mind me stepping back and asking, Cookie is a service animal.
And that all that training went to the wayside at about age 10, right? So she does not get any sort of training anymore. Once you hit 10, it's like you get to do whatever you
Okay,
want.
so
So
that's
now
what you
she's
mean.
stubborn. Now
So
she's
at 10, she kind of
doing
got to
whatever
be
she
off duty
wants.
a little bit, it
Yeah,
seems like. She wasn't as okay. Was that something
exactly.
you made by choice? Is that common with service animals? Or just you felt comfortable with your relationship with Cookie?
No, it's not. So I felt comfortable with her. And it's just one of those things where she's had enough time to do whatever she needed to do.
Oh, I
Now
love
it's her
that.
time to just enjoy life. Go ahead, get fat, get loud, bark at
I
squirrels, do
love
whatever you
that
want,
so
have
much.
fun.
I have a senior at home and he's struggling. He's not doing good health-wise, and he was eating the other dog's food, and Cody, my boyfriend, mentioned it, and I'm like, "Let him. I'll fill up the other dog's food bowl. If he's hungry, there's gonna be a day when he's not gonna wanna eat. Like, just let him eat." You're getting to a point, it's like, he can do
Exactly.
whatever he want now, and I will tolerate it. And he does, and I think he's always been able to do whatever he wants, if we're honest. He was my, first baby, but yeah, they get to a certain age, and you've given enough unconditional love, you can do whatever you want now.
Right. And it's fun to see Cookie still do that with people. Let's say if I bring her out or if I have people over to where they're just in a, for
Mhm.
lack of a better words, bad mood. Or if somebody's crying or if her kind of trigger word is why. Why is this happening? Why is this doing this? To where she'll come over and she will actually force your hands out of your lap or out of your face to say, okay, hey, I'm here. Let's
Really?
focus energy on
Yeah.
me.
That's got it. Because even though
Hmm.
it's not actively used training, it's a smart dog animal that can do that for so long. That doesn't just go
Yes.
away. That doesn't just go. And I mean, I feel like
No,
there's some
not at
dogs who
all.
aren't trained to do that and just feel people's energy and just know, hey, I need to come up now and put my hand in their lap and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, some of these dogs
Yeah.
have hidden talents that you see right away or you never see until later on in life. And you could tell they make a good service dog or a good
Hmm.
emotional support animal. Or let's say if you want to bring them to nursing homes or children hospital, some of those
Yeah.
dogs just work right off the bat and they just have that personality. Some don't. Some are crazy, like my little
Those are
border
hot.
collie.
Yeah. She is high energy.
She is
Yeah.
high energy, but she's also
Sometimes you just
insane.
get them. Even the breed that's supposed to be, you do your research, they switch on some things.
Right.
Not always all those pieces match up.
Exactly, and it's fun, it really is. I enjoy it, some people don't, but she
Do
clicks
you
in well at
do
my
so you have
house.
6, which whoo, bless your heart, because 3 is a lot for me. So bless your heart. Do all 6 have their own personalities?
They do, and really, I mean, I don't consider Cookie a true dog as far as,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
patience-wise, she's perfect, there's 0 issues, I don't have to do anything with her
Yeah.
except just love on her. Pebbles, my little chihuahua, really, it's not considered a dog,
5
it's not even considered a
pounds. You
cat in
have
my
a
mind,
large hamster.
she's smaller than a cat.
You
Exactly, and she looks like a squirrel with her colorings and even her personality when I say she gets
spicy.
spicy and
Yeah.
yells at the other dogs,
You're
it's
gonna have to share pictures of them.
so those
Count.
exactly. Those 2 don't really, in my mind, count as needing patience for. Pumpkin Pie, the emaciated dog, since she is older, she doesn't destroy. She doesn't really do much, anything negatively. The only thing she does, which I don't think I'll ever break her of it, is if she
Yeah.
smells food, she tries to eat it. She will tip over trash cans like a bear and step on it, even the locking ones, until they pop open and eat everything inside.
Yeah,
And that's just
exactly.
because she
That's
had to
just a
fight for
survival
food.
skill she had to learn. Absolutely.
So other than that, I mean, she's so easy. So really, I have, in my mind, 3 that are my
Yeah.
dogs that I have to have patience with.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, so
Mhm.
what do you feel like, because I'm so jealous. I love animals. I want to help them as much as I can. I'm also very aware that I couldn't take on more. It wouldn't be fair to the dog. So I like to go and give my
Mhm.
time. I like to help the other one. So what got you started in saying, I like dogs, but now I'm going to do something about it and bring them into my home?
So I mean, I've always liked dogs. I've always been to either humane societies or animal rescues just to walk around, say hi. Sometimes maybe walk them, take them out if I can, but mostly it was just to walk around, say hi, and take a look at what's going on. When I really started getting involved was when, I mean, I did adopt a dog that my ex-wife does have now from PAWS, which is
Okay.
PAAWS, so 2 A's. That's where I guess my loyalty started
Mhm.
from with PAWS itself. So we adopted from them. I said, okay, well, let's try to help them. And sometimes, I mean, you'll see every organization ask for donations and they wanted dog food donation. So I just loaded up my pickup truck with, I know it's the cheapest
Mhm.
food at Rural King, but it's still food. Just loaded it up as much as I could and said, okay, here's a delivery. And then how can we get more involved? How can I help more and more? Um, to where I said, okay, well, let me join as a member and see what I can do. So that's where it really started was after that. And then there was this one dog, which her name was Birdie, and she was at Evansville Animal Control. And I did end up fostering her, and that only lasted about a week until she unfortunately passed away from parvo, which
Mm.
she picked up there.
Oh, that's awful.
So that was kind of my big start. And that dog, I don't know what it is. Most people have They call it either a soul dog or a heart dog, a dog that they consider the like best of their dogs. I know it's horrible to say, it's like having a best child, but there's just that bond and connection. I have
Mm-hmm.
that connection with my cookie dog, and Birdie, for whatever reason, I've only had her for a week, but I have some sort of bond with her to where I feel like she was meant to
Yeah.
die, but she was meant to die with me because then it kind of pushed forward every other thing
Absolutely.
that I've done so
Absolutely.
far.
That time frame. It's amazing just in a few hours the love and connection you can feel with a dog. It's just so pure, it's so
Yes.
honest. And if you are a dog person, yeah, exactly. It's a yes. If you're not, then it's something you don't understand and that's fine. But 100% in that week, your heart and soul dog, like you said, it is that one that plants something in you. And like you said, meant to pass,
Mhm.
unfortunately, so sad. And it's just awful. We do this to ourselves that we know they're not here very long. But that journey and story she inspired in you will always, always be
Yes.
important. And I am also very okay saying that some dogs are more than others. You love them all. And I know people don't like saying it with kids, but I
Mhm.
mean, there's just something like my first one. I love all my dogs, but my first one, I mean, it's different. It's different.
Yes.
So you got Birdie from Animal Control. So that's kind of two stories I want to talk with you about your
Mhm.
journey with PAWS and Animal Control. Where is PAWS?
So PAWS is not a building. We don't have a true shelter. We
Okay,
are
I
a
did not
foster-based
realize that.
organization. So we do have a presence here in Evansville to where we go to PetSmart every weekend to adopt out our dogs. Our fosters do bring them into events to get adopted. We do have our website, paws.org, and then our Facebook page, facebook.com/paws rescue, to where we advertise them. We show off every animal that we have for adoption, which is all dogs and cats. And we rely on our fosters to house them in their house and take them to events and help get them adopted. So it's a little bit different than some of the other organizations, but
That's
we've been
amazing.
pretty good
I
with
did
it.
not realize that at all. That is fantastic. So, how many foster individuals do you guys currently have that are fostering pets?
I think we have about 60 dogs being fostered right now and then close to
Wow.
200
Oh,
members.
is there any kind of process to like, I don't want to say like a background home check, but do they just fill out an application? Like, what
Mhm.
kind of is put in place to make sure that these animals and humans are set up for success?
So we do have an application to become a foster. It does ask a whole bunch of references as well as where you work, where you live, landlord, or do you own it? Do you have any other dogs? Why do you want to foster? Do you understand? They could bark,
Just
destroy
put that right
things,
out
pee
front.
on
Yeah.
things. They could, yes, exactly. We are very open about any
Mm-hmm.
downfalls of fostering. We
Yeah.
don't want to sugarcoat it. Even though it is a great
Mm-hmm.
rewarding experience, it is hard. It really is because you're introducing a new animal into your house that you don't know if they're going to click right away or you're going to have to put in a lot of work into it. So we do our best to ensure that we're not setting an animal up for failure to where we want to know the foster. I mean, yes, we have an application. We don't respond typically just by email.
Right.
We do want to talk to them because we do feel that you get a better understanding of a person if you're one-on-one conversation with them rather than just
Yeah, for
either
sure.
a text message or an email. And at the same time, we always encourage and want people to do meet and greets with their current animals to whichever animal they want to foster first, because an animal may present that they might be good with other dogs or kids or cats or anything that you have in your household, but we don't want you to bring them home to where you immediately have to
Yeah.
turn around and
So
try to
returning,
return them.
speaking of that, they don't bring the animal back to a facility. Is it on other fostering
Right.
members to say, okay, I can take this one in because this foster situation didn't work? I don't want to say they're constantly being shifted, but yeah, they don't go back to a facility. They have to go back into someone
Right.
else's home. Do you think that's a benefit to the animal that they're never kind of in that institution? Or do you think the bouncing sometimes from houses is tough?
I mean, it's tough to bounce from house to house. Their scenery
Mm-hmm.
is always changing if that happens. So we typically, if somebody wants to return an animal, we do encourage them to keep the animal in
Okay.
place while we can find another foster for them. We do have other fosters as well as ourselves that will go over to that house and see what's happening. It will say, well, why do you want to return them? What's happening? Can we help? Is it something to do with training? Is there a trigger? Did something happen? What can we do to set this animal up for success and continue fostering with you? If it's totally a situation where it's like this cannot happen due to unseen circumstances, we will find placement for that animal. Even if it's temporary, sometimes we do place in
Okay.
boarding facilities, and we do pay for it. Some of them do hold a spot for us for
Wow.
free, which we absolutely love. And it's been hard lately. So, with all the animals that are being found as strays and abandoned and surrendered, we have a shortage of fosters, but a
Yeah.
shortage of adopters. So, it's hard to say, okay, how do we continue to save without overwhelming ourselves and without putting our kind of emergency placement places over capacity?
I love how proactive you guys are able to be. A lot of facilities like humane
Mhm.
societies who have the dogs there, I don't think I've ever heard are able to like go and visit and see and kind of home visit that. So what a blessing that that's able to be done. I
Mhm.
always say, if there's just enough money in the world or I could donate to it, I would love to see that be like an extension of these places that save animals, like dog trainers and in-home visitors, of how it's setting up for
Right.
success. I would love to see so much more around that. So that's amazing that you guys do attempt that process first. But you mentioned something so important. As the economy changes, everyone thinks of the big main stuff. And understandably so, in some situations, people don't think of animal care and pet care. It's very expensive. So some animals are being
It is.
surrendered because of that. Some animals aren't being adopted as quickly
Mhm.
because that is such a big expense to take on in a very expensive world. And there's just unfortunately not a lot of discussion around that. And then these poor animals don't understand why, but they're beautiful animals are just staying in facilities even longer. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know if it was a question, but it is. That's just so heartbreaking. I always just hate that. And I get people like you're saving their
It is.
like, making sure their families are fed and all that. But you see these animals, 9 years old, never been in a facility, surrendered because something's changed.
Right.
That a dog in a facility already has so much stacked against them. A dog that's never
Mhm.
been in a facility like that their whole life are set
Right.
up for such disaster. And older dogs, when I go to facilities, the puppies are cute. I miss mine being
Mhm.
small. I am not a puppy person anymore. It's those older ones. Like they
Right.
need so much saving and love in life. And it is really
Yes.
tough. These facilities are just getting so overwhelmed and overfilled.
And what I say to people is, I mean, if they're trying to foster, like I said, I don't sugarcoat it. I'd say, are you okay with having this animal in your house for maybe up to a year? Fostering is not as
Yeah.
fast as a lot of people think it is, especially if it's not your, what would I call
Yeah.
expensive, sought after breed, right? So we all know the ones that are easier typically to get adopted,
Yeah.
the just the expensive dogs, right? Let's say a Shih Tzu or a Frenchie. Those typically go quick, but it's most of the other dogs where it's like you have to know that this is not a
Yeah.
1 month turnaround. I mean, it can be, but it's right now in this economy, in this time, it could
Mm-hmm.
be up to a year, if not longer.
Absolutely. And then like you said, so many people just go off the looks of the animal. Like you said, those popular ones, the Shih Tzu, the Frenchie, that people are just like, oh, this is the popular breed right now. But those
Mhm.
amazing ones here are the mutts. You
Yes.
have no idea what they are. You can't really say a lot about them. Maybe they have
Right.
more of a pit face, or maybe they're just, like I said, something that's put together. Those poor little boogers just get so overlooked because they're not the popular the popular breed or dog that everyone wants. So
Yes.
how, as a foster person on the other side of it, you have this dog for potentially 6 months, a year, you've cared for it, trained it, you've seen the growth. How in the world do you let that go to another family?
I have a hard time with that myself. But there's always going to be another dog out there. There's always going to be another
Mhm.
perfect dog out there for you, to where if you look at it in a sense of, I can't keep all the good ones. I want to
Oh.
spread that kind of happiness and love in the community. It makes it a little bit easier, but it is absolutely just as tough there. There are a lot of foster failures after that amount of time because they say, well, I've already had this dog for a year.
Mhm.
Why
Oh my
not just keep them?
gosh.
And there's
Yeah.
nothing bad about that
Absolutely, but I
because it
love the
saved that
way of
animal's life.
referencing that. If this has been a good, great dog, you've been able to be such an amazing, important chapter in that dog's life. How can you spread this experience out to someone else to experience?
Mhm.
Like I said, I was young and naive when I got mine, and someone asked, are you going to breed him? My first one, I said no, because I'd have 15 dogs running around. I couldn't get rid because you raise him for so long and he's from my
Right.
baby. It's like, no, I'd have all the dogs. I wouldn't be able to get them. I wouldn't be able to give them away. So let's go into, I love PAWS. I did not know that about it. I'm so glad you shared that. That's impressive.
Mhm.
It's always impressive what all of these facilities do, because the heart and care, when you go in there and you really see the workers who just really care for these animals, is so impressive. And sometimes I'm like, I
Yes.
don't know how they leave at night, just knowing they're all in there. And the fact that you guys are a foster only base, I'm really glad you shared that. That's amazing. And that there's other facilities around who kind of help you guys sometimes with boarding. That is just a really cool community coming through for that. I love hearing
Yes.
about that. Let's switch a little bit to animal control. I'll be honest, when I think animal control, I think of those old cartoons where they go out and they get the
Mhm.
wild loose dogs who don't have a home, and it's always like this big grizzly um person with a hook trying to get the animal. Like animal control, I never think of anything as positive. And they too, and
Right.
their goal is to help take care of animals, I would think. Okay.
Yes. So I will say anyone who's actually working down there at animal control, especially the animal control officers, the one that are there day to day, they do all the tasks from just cleaning out kennels to helping them get adopted to intaking the animals and
Yeah.
unfortunately euthanizing them if they need
Oh
to.
God, yeah.
They hate it themselves. I mean, they'll walk out of the back area crying because they built a relationship with these animals. They do everything they can to help. And there is a lot of negativity, yes. A lot of it has to do with, in my opinion, and it's not on the officers and it's mostly on just education and communication. Like, people want to know the processes, people want to know what's going on. And unfortunately, just like any other government
Hmm.
organization, you don't know either, or you don't have either. So, my goal with everything that I try to do is just to get a little bit more information on the current processes or just the current statistics. I mean, what we doing as, let's say, a rescue organization, is that actually helping? What's our save rate? How many animals are coming in? It feels like more, but is it
Tracking that,
actually
knowing
more?
what you can improve or what areas are having gaps if you
Exactly.
track it, and just with knowledge and data.
Exactly. So that, and then just trying to get everybody wants a bigger shelter. I'm 50-50 on needing a bigger shelter versus maintaining the one that we have a little bit better. And again, it really does not boil down to the officers themselves, because how do you ask them to, let's say, clean up this area better or, feed this animal and clean out their kennel? I mean, it's so hard to divvy up that time effectively to make everybody happy when the overall goal is to protect and save the animals. So, yes, there are areas that need improvement with. And really lately, all I've been focusing on is communication and getting important information, especially out to the public. What are the procedures? I know there's an ordinance. It is kind of vague. What are the internal SOPs? What are the internal procedures? What can you give to the public to know? They might still be pissed off, but at least they know this is what happens. Let's say if their dog gets stray or if it's picked up in a
So
different
let's see.
circumstance.
So like I want to say the biggest difference is animal control is government funded. It's a government run program facility by the
It
city
is
and
by the
county.
city and
Okay.
county.
And then obviously with that just being a government run thing, it probably already has a negative aura around it, because that's what people think. And then obviously like the other humane societies, they are nonprofits. And they are nonprofits.
Right.
And animal control, do you know, is it a policy that they have to be a euthanized facility?
So they
Hmm.
have to intake any animal within the limits. And unfortunately, because there is a lack of space, they have to euthanize. I mean, they do their best to not, rescues
Can
step
come
up
and
and
pull
work with
animals
them
from that.
to pull a
Okay.
lot of the animals out. And I hate to say it like this, it is unfortunate with our current stray population and how many animals are being surrendered, bred
Hmm.
intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Animals will die.
For
That
sure.
is the hard facts of it. We try our
Yeah.
best. I try to focus on the positive more than the
Hmm.
negative. It's hard to sometimes, but just in a kind of overall picture, if they're mandated to take in any animal and there's only a limited amount of
Yeah.
space, there's really no other option. I mean, they can adopt out, they can do their foster to adopt program to get animals out. They rely on
Yeah.
rescues. It's just hard, especially with the
Yeah,
manpower that they
exactly,
have
that
or
they
don't
don't
have.
have. So how does an animal end up at animal control? A neighbor calls on them, they find them running around loose. Like they're the ones who go, as to where it's like a humane society, I guess people drop off the pets. If it's one who like where they have to go and get the animal out of a situation, that is what animal control does. They
Yep.
go and get the animals.
So they can get the animal. People can bring in strays.
Oh, really?
People can
Okay.
own or
I guess that
surrender
makes sense,
there.
but that'd be hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is very hard because strays in Evansville have a 7-day hold period to where they cannot be euthanized. Owner surrendered animals can be
Wow.
euthanized immediately if space is empty. And unfortunately, they are
Yeah, for
always
sure.
over capacity there.
Holy cows.
So humane societies, I mean, every single one
Mm-hmm.
of them, to include PAWS, we take surrenders. All of those other ones take surrenders. They do pull from animal
Mm-hmm.
control. They do have their own foster programs. It's just hard
Max
right now.
capacity is
Everybody is
strapped. Yeah.
pretty much at overcapacity. So it's like, how do we pick and choose which one is able to be pulled and not able to be pulled? It's just,
Oh
it's so
God, yeah.
hard and will
Making that
never
choice of which
please
animal do
everybody.
we, because you're going off their history. You have 7 days
Right,
potentially. And we just said at the beginning of this, dogs need more time. It could be an amazing dog who's just not got the best
right.
first impression because of its history. And now you have 7 days. Is that 7 days for strays because
Exactly.
they are trying in that time to find to see if it has an owner before it's put down? Okay.
Yes. So that is that ordinance. I know they're trying to shorten
Oh,
it
they're trying to
to,
shorten
like,
it.
I think it's 4 days. Yes. And really, I mean, I was on the fence
Mm-hmm.
about that in the beginning, and I still am just a little bit, just based on the fact that, myself and yourself, we can drop what we're doing and go down
Yeah.
and find our dog at animal control right now. We're not so reliant on a weekly paycheck, but some people, I mean, they have to work
Mm-hmm.
Monday through Friday. There's no time off, and they work during the same
Mm-hmm.
hours that animal control is open. Their bosses won't give them time off, or they get paid on Friday. They
Yeah.
don't have enough money to go reclaim. That's my
Yeah.
only issue with the shorter stray hold, where that 7 day gives them the opportunity to maybe come in on a Saturday
For
or get
sure.
to their next pay cycle. But other than that, I mean, really, most of the animals, if their owners are looking for them, do get reclaimed within the first couple days. The ones who make it all the way to 7,
Yeah.
typically, I mean, they're not
It's,
getting reclaimed.
yeah.
It's hard. I don't know the true statistics on it. It sounds worse shortening it. It might be worse, but I don't know. What we currently have been shown is that it really doesn't matter if it's
Because
going to
if
be
it's
7 or
someone
4 days.
actively looking for their dog, they're going to be there within 4 days no matter what. Yeah. Here's the horror story. I went to
Exactly.
like the worst horror story. You're on vacation. You have a friend watching your dog. It happens at the beginning of your vacation. You're gone for a week. You find out your dog got out. You come home and
Right.
they've already been put down. That is going to be such a rare case, but that is where my mind went to. It's like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, that has happened or could happen or would
Right.
happen.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough because when you said 7 days, I'm like, they need to make that longer. And I get it. It's hard to judge, but I love that you brought up
Mhm.
there are some people who really, really want to go get their dog, but circumstances, can't let them. They
Right.
can't risk losing their job that takes care of their family to go get that
Right.
pet.
And they'll typically work with them. So if, let's say, you call in, you leave a message, keep leaving messages, or,
Mm-hmm.
you talk with people who are down there, talk with different organizations. If you get the message to animal control, it's like, hey, I am working. I need to wait until Friday. I will come pick up my dog. They're not going to euthanize them
Good.
for that. They're going to work with the people and
Yeah.
say, okay, well, you better be here by Friday. And then even then, they'll call back. Let's say if they don't show up by Friday, they're
Mm-hmm.
not just going to say, oh, well, they missed it. They're still going to probably wait a few more days.
Yeah.
Now, that's not in writing. That's not
It's
anything
good
official,
people
but
who
it's,
are working there. Yeah.
if you're choosing which animal is going to be euthanized, it's like, well, I know that owner has at
Yeah.
least talked with us and
Do
want
you
them
know
back.
this? Who makes the final say in which dogs go down and which ones don't? In what order?
It's going to be
Hmm.
the superintendents. I mean, they might appoint, the officers to do like an unofficial vote or tell me which ones you think. That one's
Oof.
tough. It really
Oh my
is. I
gosh, no.
couldn't do it
No, and just
myself.
knowing it happens and knowing someone does have to do it, I couldn't. Give me the worst day in real estate ever. Still not doing that job. Oh God, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't
No, I
imagine.
couldn't
Yeah,
do
like
it
those people
either.
who work there, I know get crap done. I know get not maybe literally by the
Mhm.
dogs, but having to make those decisions and deal with that. Bless their hearts for working there, because my goodness, that has to be so tough.
It's not fun. And like I said, I love all the officers and staff that work there. Who I mostly work with is going to be people who are actually in charge of it, kind
Mm-hmm.
of that higher echelon of staff, who may be down on the floor with them, but mostly deal with, the ordinance, the paperwork, the statistics. How can we actually make change? Because, the workers are just, I mean, they're not just workers, but they're just workers. They don't have the say in to change anything. They just do what they're able to do,
Yeah.
day in and
Yeah.
day out.
So you had recently posted something. Again, you've done so well at acknowledging the
Mhm.
hard work of them there, and it was not a bash post. And that's what I think I
Right.
respected most, is truly just trying to come from curiosity and get knowledge. What is it that you put out there about animal control? And I think we made a movement towards something good. So will you explain what that process and steps were?
So there's a few different things that I've been working with animal control. Most recently, it's been a lot of public requests. So there's been a lot of, I don't want to say conspiracy, but there's been a lot of conspiracy or talk or communication or lack of communication and transparency on a few different topics and items down there, to where I submitted 3 public requests. One of them was just for the normal statistics, right? Intakes and outcomes. Where do they come in? Are they strays? Are they owner surrenders? What happens to them? Are they euthanized? Are they adopted out? Does a rescue organization take them? That's something that I think
Hmm.
should be posted monthly just to know the statistics. I mean, it should not take a public request to
To be able to find that, yeah.
get that information. Two other things I'm still working with is getting maintenance requests to see what's just active, what's pending, what's been done as far as maintenance requests on the building, because there are a few maintenance items where we're told that it's a union contract thing. Hang on one second. Sorry, I'm working from my
Yeah.
home office
No,
today.
totally get
They're
it.
barking up a storm. But there are few maintenance items to where I believe that should be done, or is it being
Mm.
done? Nobody knows is the thing. I want more information, and I believe that's public information to where we should know where our money's going. Well, I mean, how much maintenance is there? Is the current maintenance contract in place adequate, or is it not? And then there's a secondary issue, and it's not really an issue other than I just don't know anything about it and nobody can tell me, is about the Spirit Fund, which is a fund where animal control does ask the public to donate to, and they do take a percentage from all reclaim fees and put it towards the Spirit Fund, to where it's a fund that helps with medical issues on basically the Spirit Fund is it's a program that helps pay for medical issues at
Okay.
animal control with the animals there. And they're asking for donations on the city's website in person, as well as they take a percentage from all reclaims to put towards that Spirit Fund, which I think is a good overall program. There's just no information about it. There's no public ledger. There's no accounting. There's nothing that shows what the
Well,
current
yeah.
balance is. So
And my
I
first thought
submitted a public
is,
request for it.
how much medical care are they doing for the animals? They don't seem like they're possibly in their care long enough to do a full workup on them or know, hey, this dog needs eye drops for its eye issue or a leg's hurt. Like, they're not there to like keep them. So what kind of work would that medical fund do? They don't seem to have them long enough.
I mean, they do. You know, if an animal comes in and let's just say it's too far gone. It was hit by a car, it's bleeding out. They will euthanize it.
For sure.
Unfortunately,
For sure.
it's the humane thing to do, in my opinion. But let's say it comes in with a leg that is broken and they're limping on it. They will send it out to get evaluated, and they'll possibly amputate. They'll get medication. If an animal has some sort of disease or parvo, they'll send out and get treated.
Okay. I
They
did not
do a
realize
lot of
that.
medical there, which I know is included in their normal budget. It's just for me, there's I don't know who gets to pick and choose which
Yeah.
animals get that funding. And that's what I want to know. I want to know some
Hmm.
procedures or SOPs or policies. And if we're using reclaim money, if we're asking the public to donate to it, especially on the city's website, there should be I don't need a full forensic investigation into it or anything. I just want to know, what's our budget look
What
like? How much
animals
is
did it
money
go
is
to?
in
How
it?
many times? What is it? The main thing it's going to? Is it parvo care?
Right.
Is it amputations? Is it? That's a great point. Absolutely.
Right. So those are my three public requests lately, and that's kind of the thing that I'm currently working on. So I mean, I got the statistics of the income or intakes and outcomes. I'm still working on the city producing documents as far as
The
maintenance
Spirit Fund
and the
itself. And then
Spirit Fund
something
itself.
was announced, I think it was even by Mayor Terry, that they just changed something for animal control. What was that? I feel like it was something towards adoption. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so it's foster to adoption. So the way that the current ordinance is set up, as well as state law, is that animals cannot leave animal control without being spayed or neutered, or I should say adopted out of animal control without being spayed or neutered, as well as up to date on
Okay.
vaccines to include rabies vaccine. Now, that is able to be, I don't want to say skirted around, that sounds like a bad thing, but it's able to be looked at a later time. It's able to be kind of skipped over right now, knowing that it will happen if you are fostering the animal. So let's say the animal's up for adoption, it's off a stray hold, but is not fixed or not spayed or neutered, it's not up to date on vaccines, doesn't have rabies. We could pull it as a foster, allowing us to get that animal out right now. It doesn't have to have all that medical procedures and up to date through animal control. So what that program has done is allowed people who have adopted an animal from animal control, who's waiting for them to get spayed or neutered, up to date on vaccines, they could pull that animal through animal control as a foster to adopt. They're not really fostering in a sense of like, I fostered to get adopted out to another person. They're going to end up adopting it, but it allows them to free up a kennel right now rather than waiting. Okay, this animal's adopted, it goes to get spayed and neutered next week, but it has to wait that entire week, taking up a kennel space. So that's what that
Interesting.
new
Okay,
program
which
was.
I love the benefits of that. They've got a family, they can get to it sooner, it opens up kennel.
Mhm.
Is it a requirement by the person to make sure, though, that they get that animal spayed or neutered?
Yes. So, I mean, they get an
Okay.
appointment set up or they get a voucher, and it's up to animal control to
Which is
police that to
probably
say, okay,
tough
are
with
you
their lack
following
of
up?
man
Did it
care.
actually get spayed or neutered? It is very tough.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be downfalls
Yeah.
to it. I like the program overall, and it's just hard to say if it's
For
going to be
sure. I
good or
love
bad
the
without
the
trying it.
goal of it opening up a kennel faster and this animal getting into hopefully a loved home goal. That's a win-win. But as someone who I know is
Right.
so passionate about the high surrender rate and animal population, I know both of us would
Mhm.
probably be on the same page of you have to spay and neuter to be responsible sometimes, and to make sure that population just doesn't
Right.
go crazy. There's just too many pets who don't have a home yet. We don't need to contribute to that. So I also am a big advocate for the spade and
Exactly.
neutering. And I also know people might not always follow up with that. So I can see that side of it. But if the end goal is they are in a home and it opens up a kennel, then yeah, I agree with you. I think that's amazing.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
essentially, they're trying. It's like, what can we do to free them up
exactly.
faster? And I don't know the statistics on it just yet. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
shown good or bad just
Okay.
yet, but I think
Awesome.
time will tell.
Awesome. How does, because if I'm correct, the state of Indiana doesn't have animal laws, animal abuse laws. Is that correct?
I mean, the state of Indiana I mean, they do have some animal abuse laws out there, and it also depends
Local laws
on
more
kind
so.
of local laws and what can be written up, what can be enforced, and then what can be proved. Because a lot of the times, let's say myself or you may look at something as, yeah, that's kind of abusive behavior, but I mean, unfortunately, most courts and most systems view animals as property, right? So it may not be comfortable for the
Hmm.
animal, but it's not illegal. I don't like that necessarily, and it just really requires kind of looking
Yeah.
at
Do you
every
ever
case
see any of your
individually.
advocacy leaning towards that bigger picture of anything? Or do you think you like your energy being where you can see these impact and changes to focus on the positive and not that negative?
So I mean, it's hard to not focus on the negative.
Yeah.
People are going to be evil no matter what. I try not
Yeah.
to focus on things that I can't change because the current court systems, the current laws in place, I mean, they're not even
Hmm.
fully enforced in a sense to where it's like that should be this, but it's not even being written up as this. So where is my energy and
That's a
time
good
best
reminder.
used? That's
That's a
what I
good
focus
reminder.
on.
So walking away from this, people listening who want to do something, obviously anytime you
Sure.
can get onto a shelter or animal control, anything they're requesting, can donate if it's something like that monetarily, if it's your time. How can we kind of change the perception of animal control to help the community? I think either they don't think anything of animal control, or I would assume,
Mhm.
and this is just my bias, people do see it in a negative manner. Okay, so fair to
Oh
say
yeah.
that statement. How do we work on, as a community, changing that narrative?
I mean, it's hard to
Okay.
say without going there in person. There's a lot of information that may be 50% correct or 25% correct. And, it sounds plausible and may be plausible, but until you see it, until you know it, until you actually call and ask or go down there in person and take a look, you really don't know how it is. And I mean, it's hard. People have big hearts and emotion runs big with living creatures, especially animals. So, as far as seeing it not in a negative light, it's one of those where it's pick your news source, right? You could watch one news source and be pissed off and one news source and be happy and vice versa. Go down there in person, just take a look, take a walk around, sign in. All you do is walk in, sign in to the visitor look or logbook, walk around, take a look. You could sign up as a volunteer
You
and
can
help out.
volunteer at animal control? I don't think I realized that either.
You can. So you could walk dogs there. You volunteer. There's a volunteer process.
Mhm.
You have to sign up on the city's website. Once you're approved, I think it takes like 2 weeks. Once you're approved, you can go down there, walk dogs, can just assist where you can. So there's no real task list in a sense, but it at least allows you to take these dogs outside and just
Yeah.
play with them for a
Yeah.
little bit.
And that's what said too. I don't
Mhm.
know how many volunteers they have there. Naive to think I didn't even think you could go. I kind of think of it not like jail, but like I don't think it's as a place that like you could
Mhm.
go and visit like a humane society, and that's awful and naive on my part. And hopefully people listen and hear and
Right.
realize that those animals there, they need the walks, they need the care, they need the same volunteering love that humane society dogs get. So I love hearing that and being able to share that
Right.
knowledge, and love that you said just go down there and get that information for yourself. That's wonderful. That's awesome.
Yes.
So I love everything that you're doing, not only of saving the dogs, but that true advocacy. You are going out there and in a very responsible, respectable way, gathering knowledge to then therefore see, okay, where is an area that we can focus on first or faster, or making it what the end goal is, which anyone who's in that industry is to help the care of those animals.
And that's the overall goal. I don't want to buy into any misinformation. I don't like reposting stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I really don't know the facts of, and then 20 minutes later
Mm-hmm.
be shown that I was incorrect. So that's why
Yeah.
even if it's good or bad, right? Go down there and just ask or call. If you can't get
Yeah.
through to them, go down there and talk in person.
Yeah.
It could be bad. It could be good, but hearing or playing the telephone game to say what was the real
Yeah.
information is just
And
so
not helping
draining,
anything.
and it
Yep.
just introduces
Yep. Just
trauma where it
pushes
doesn't need
against
to
it,
be.
not helping anything, and not
Exactly.
just making it a political blast of negativity. If you truly want to make change, just come from curiosity, gather that knowledge, and then see the data. And then from that, again, like you said, could be bad, could be good, but those numbers are what allow you to start making that true
Mhm.
difference and impact. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, there's
Exactly.
so many things I would love to do with the doggos. And like I said, I'm a big talker. So I love that you are a doer. I'm just very, very impressed and inspired by everything that you're working on. And just thank you so much for sharing your story and time and the knowledge you shared about PAWS and animal control. And you
Mhm.
mentioned PAWS website and Facebook, but if you'll mention those again for me so people can go and
Yes.
visit and see all the doggos that are being up for adoption and fostered.
Yes. So it's paws.org, and it's paws with two A's. So PAAWS.org. And then the Facebook page, if it's facebook.com/paws rescue. And if you just type in paws again with two A's on Facebook, it should be one of the first ones that pops up. And we're active on both. So the Facebook page and the website are both updated pretty much immediately when we do pull a dog or cat available for
Awesome.
adoption.
Awesome. Yes. Sorry, we focus on doggos. Cats, very much out there too. I know there are cat advocates. I
Mhm.
know we focus on dogs, but definitely a dog advocate, all animal advocates. If you
Mhm.
are able to responsibly go find a new best friend, please, 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 people out there, go consider an animal that is in a facility, not the beautiful, expensive breed that has a all dogs need saved, but please know that there are good-hearted animals, older animals that need to be rescued. So please think about going in there. And then if you are not ready to open up your heart and home or expenses to have this new friend, go and volunteer. Give them love for an hour, 2 hours. What that does
Yes.
for you as a person is just as rewarding as what it does for that animal. So if you can give your time and go walk and just spend time with them, that's huge as well. So thank you so much for listening today. Be sure to follow us and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Stay connected with us on social media. We want to hear from you, and please let us know what you learned from today's episode. Bonus points if you post doggo pictures. Use the hashtag Kick It Up a Notch podcast. And until next time, let's all keep working together to kick it up a notch in everything that we do. Thanks again so much for your time today, Mark, and sharing with us.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Kick It Up a Notch is all about real talk and real stories, but we're not doctors, lawyers, financial advisors, or therapists. We're just two business owners having fun, sharing experiences, and hopefully sparking some inspiration. So don't take anything we say as professional advice. Always do your research and consult the experts when needed. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Kick It Up a Notch. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Until next time, keep reaching higher and kicking it up a notch.